Chapter 1: Sunrise and Sorrows. A scream of pain and determination ripped from the throat of Louis Celire. The electrical current he had forced into his body making its way across his shoulders, the smell of his own burning flesh turning his stomach. That's gonna leave a crazy scar. It was only supposed to take a few milliseconds, but the adrenaline had made time move so slowly. His brown eyes focused on Sarah Cloud, his fallen friend, and watched as his hand that pressed against her sternum finally finished bridging the galvanic charge to her heart. Her body convulsed, and a gasp escaped her lungs. Dave, Louis turned to his adopted brother. Check it. David Nico nodded and put his fingers against Sarah's neck.
Yeah, bro, she's got a pulse. I can't believe that worked. I didn't even know it was possible, sharing the electricity like that.
Louis smiled faintly. Yeah, well, without a real defibrillator around in this place, there didn't seem to be another option, and the antidote wouldn't have gone through her system if she was, Her bones and stuff feel fine too. I'm surprised the concrete pillar didn't do any other damage. Must have been weaker than it looked. He glanced at his surroundings. We've got a new problem now, though.
Yeah.
Stan Polar, the oldest of the four friends, threw away the bullet-punctured keycard.
There's no way we're getting out of here from the inside. And still no cell service in this stupid place.
Louis sighed and looked back at Sarah, gently brushing the hair out of her face. A faint ping reached his ears, and he rose to his feet, peering through the door to the adjacent room. He let his eyes fall on Martin and Sally Cloud, Sarah's parents. Their lifeless bodies produced a small, red flash every couple of seconds, synced to the slight beeping sound. Before Louis could offer any additional thoughts, he heard a violent clanging.
Louis, someone's bashing the door in.
Scooping Sarah in his arms, Louis stood in front of Stan and David as the door fell from its hinges, and faceless agents swarmed through. A medic took the young woman from Louis, while another checked the other three's vitals, but everything simply became white noise for the next several minutes as the group was hurried out of the factory. No sooner had they adjusted to the chaos did a tall, focused man in a suit approach them.
Louis Celire, David Nico, Stan Polar.
The three friends nodded.
Come with me.
We're not going anywhere without Sarah, Louis said, calm but firm. I should expect not. The man chuckled, his white teeth clashed brightly against his ebony skin. She's coming as well. My medic said she'd wake soon, though most likely after we arrive. Hello? The voice called out. Please, the young man rasped, the previously inhaled smoke hurting his throat all the more. I can't get out. But the clanging had stopped, the voices had shrank, and the footsteps had faded. How? How could this have happened? After he had only done what he'd been told, taken the antidote like his father had wanted, how could either of them have known that he would have been allergic to one of the ingredients? And yet Gene Tomber decided to leave his son here, dying on the floor. Made sense. He was always nothing to his father. No achievement great enough, never really the right answer. The boy was lucky to be acknowledged with a whisper. As the red light of the room began to fade, the captive decided that maybe it really would be better for everyone when the approaching blackness finally swallowed him. Not like it truly mattered anyway.
How did you get here?
The dark-haired 19-year-old looked up suddenly. This was not the factory. Where was he? And who was that? His eyes drifted towards the voice, emanating from something he was never allowed to believe in before. An angel. A sun-kissed, auburn-haired, green-eyed angel, barely older than he was.
Hey, I'm talking to you. How did you get here? Who are you?
Opening his mouth and tightening his stomach, the freed youth forced out his haggard response. Sky. My name is Sky.
We interrupt Voltage the audio drama to bring you our sponsor, Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you too, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Overcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership because Anchor is the first sponsor they sign you up with. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. You can download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Now back to Voltage.
Let's do this again, the agent sighed. He sat across David Nico, the steel table separating them. You went into the factory after your friend Mr. Polar got a call from his boss, and when you get there, Gene Tomber is lying dead on the floor. David rolled his eyes.
Look, like I told you before, man.
Agent Jameson.
Fine. Agent Jameson. We went in there to help. Everything else that happened, we have no idea.
Are you sure? You've got a little bit of a checkered past, Mr. Nico. Could have been you returning to some old ways back before you were adopted by the Celires?
Oh, he did not just do that.
David breathed deeply, his broad shoulders squaring with a sharp jerk.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response, Agent Jameson.
Jameson nodded and waved his hand. Perhaps your brother will be more cooperative. Lewis was ushered through the door, tapping David on the arm on his way out. All right, Mr. Celire, have a seat. The lights from the medical bay rippled as they came into Sarah Cloud's view. Muffled voices became overwhelmingly clear as they rang in her ears, but she only saw a nurse and her aunt and uncle.
Aunt Isabel? Uncle Mark?
Sarah cried out aloud, and the two awoke with a start, eyes wide towards their recovered niece.
Oh, Sarah, sweetheart, you're awake! You guys, what happened?
Mark and Isabel exchanged glances, pausing for too long.
I remember Mom and Dad. They're not here, are they? They died.
Yeah, Mark's voice broke slightly. We're so sorry, Sarah.
But I did too. At least I almost did. But
So stupid. As if we wanted anything but to help. This is ridiculous. Sarah turned around abruptly.
hey, what the heck was that?
What was what, sweetheart?
I think I heard.
Jameson's really pouring it on thick. At this point, he'll accuse us of actually starting the gas release. Sarah's eyes narrowed with understanding.
No, that's Lewis. Where is he? Where am I?
That's a long story, Mark started, but the short of it is, you're basically in what's called a green site. After what happened to the factory, you were all brought here and... Sarah, where are you going? Sarah began pulling the wires out of her arm, her bare feet hitting the cold tile.
I have to go find Lewis. He's annoyed, agitated. I don't know how, but I can hear him.
Stan said Jameson read him the riot act too. Hopefully I'm reacting a little less than he did.
Lewis! Lewis, where are you? Oh, Lewis. What's going on?
If I have to answer one more stupid question... Wait, what was that?
Lewis.
Sarah closed her eyes and focused.
Lewis, can you hear me?
Sarah? Sarah, where are you? And why can I...
I don't know. I don't know what any of this is.
The brunette bombshell opened her eyes and kept walking, distant voices becoming clear until she found a steel door with a guard. Lewis's voice, his out-loud voice, could be heard from beyond it. The suit-clad sentry could barely react as Sarah turned the knob and opened the door, seeing Lewis sit across from his standing interrogator.
You must be Jameson.
It's Agent Jameson, Miss Cloud, but I'm glad to see you're awake. Lady, you're okay? Sarah smiled, relieved. Even in the middle of a completely confusing situation, hearing Lewis's endearing nickname was a small sense of normalcy.
Yeah, hero. I'm okay.
She crossed the room quickly, her stride putting her in front of Jameson.
Okay, Agent Jameson. Why are you talking to Lewis like this?
It's just protocol. Rest assured, all of you will be questioned until we find out what's going on. Jameson turned to the door again as he heard voices raise in protest, and Stan and David came through the opening.
Whoa! Welcome back, Sarah.
David grinned.
Told you I thought I saw her.
Still alive.
Stan smirked before giving the guard next to him a nasty glare and jerking free of their grip. Everybody go back to where you were before, Jameson yelled, loosening his tie. This is an investigation into an act of terrorism, and we're going to follow protocol to the letter. Okay. Terrorists. That's what he thinks we are. Sarah, not fully aware of her actions, only aware that she was completely calm, gripped the steel table in front of her. With one hand, she threw it to the side, cracking the concrete wall, and the other hand gripped Jameson by the collar, raising him over her head.
Hostile! Hostile!
The guard outside shouted, drawing his weapon.
Stand down, right now!
I think I just heard you say terrorist, Agent Jameson. Is that what you think we are? My memory's a little fuzzy, but I'm pretty sure we and my parents, my dead parents, just saved a whole city. And you decide to call Lewis a terrorist.
Stand down, miss, right now.
The watchman said again. He raised his gun, but Lewis crossed the room swiftly and grasped the barrel, denting it under his grip, the impact of a shoulder accidentally knocking the scout away. The young man's eyes widened as he saw the agent slide several feet and turned back to Sarah. Lady, it's gonna be okay. Put Jameson down. I think a lot of this is gonna need explaining, and something tells me Jameson is after the answers we have, but he has some we might want too. Sarah nodded and released her hold, letting Jameson drop to the floor, a slight regret mingled with compassion. Memories of her parents' faces flashing before her, she held out her hand as the agent took it, and Sarah helped Agent Jameson back to his feet.
Yeah, I'm sorry, hero. I think I need a minute.
Insinuate what you want, Agent Jameson, Lewis said, his hands in the air as the room became crowded with more armed guards. But just like several hours ago, we're here to help you.
We hope you enjoyed this exciting episode of Voltage, the audio drama. Tune in every 2 weeks for the next chapter.